As the gun violence crisis has dominated headlines in Philadelphia, the NBC10 investigators wanted to dig deeper into where these crimes are happening. And that's when they found something they had never seen before. And in order to track down those crime locations, NBC10 investigative reporter Danny Freeman had to travel hundreds of miles from home.
Philadelphia is struggling with certain types of crime these days. Homicides, shootings, and carjackings are all on the rise. But we wanted to know more. We examined crime data for the past 6 years in Philadelphia. Nearly 1 million entries from aggravated assaults to car thefts. But after looking at the numbers, we found something out of place. So we decided to track it down.
Never thought I'd travel this far for a Philly crime story.
And it took a plane, a cab, and a train to see it for ourselves.
There is one place that has recorded more Philadelphia crime than any other spot in the city, and that place is Disney World.
The happiest place on earth, somehow the most dangerous place for Philadelphia crime.
Haven't seen one Philly police officer yet.
The NBC10 investigators found that for years, when the police made a typo or couldn't get an accurate location for a crime, the department moved the crime to Disney World. The theme park became a dumping ground for inaccurate data, which led to more than 5,000 Philadelphia crimes in the past 6 years plotted here in Fantasyland. No other location had more recorded Philadelphia crime.
Since 2016, just past Cinderella's castle, Philadelphia police have recorded at least 16 arsons, 133 DUIs, 298 auto thefts, and 50 homicides, including the murder of Shanika Crawford's son.
The pain never goes away or never gets better. You just have to learn how to live with it.
North Philadelphia's Shanika Crawford lost her son, Shaquille Barbour, to gun violence last year. He was shot more than a dozen times, and his killer has not been caught. But because police recorded the address of the shooting as 1700 North 68th Street instead of 1700 68th Avenue, Shaquille's murder was moved to Disney World.
What goes through your mind when you hear that?
It's hurtful. He got murdered on the street in Philadelphia.
How do you think crime victims or family members of crime victims might feel if they knew that their worst moments were mapped at Disney World?
Well, I can't really speak to how another person might think or feel. I'm not aware of that. So as far as we're concerned, this was an innocuous location that we chose.
Kevin Thomas is the director of research and analysis for the Philadelphia Police Department. He said the choice to map these crimes at Disney was made more than a decade ago, before he got into the position.
In no way was this meant to be in any way humorous, or it was just an innocuous location chosen within the U.S. that would obviously not have anything to do with Philadelphia whatsoever.
It conveys the wrong message that a police department doesn't really care.
Robert Kane leads Drexel University's Criminology and Justice Studies. He explained it's not uncommon for police departments to have to deal with inaccurate crime data. But it is uncommon to choose a default location like Disney World. The industry standard is to pick a spot in the middle of the ocean.
I don't think you would want your crime or a crime committed against somebody close to you kind of minimized by the very agency that's supposed to be investigating and trying to make it right.
Thomas with the police noted of the millions of crimes reported for more than 10 years, only 2% were mapped in Fantasyland. But 5 months after the NBC10 investigators started asking about this years-long practice, something changed. The Disney data disappeared.
After you had requested a discussion about this, we've actually gone through a process of changing that.
The bad data has been removed from Disney and relocated in the Atlantic Ocean. The happiest place on Earth, no longer a hotspot for Philadelphia crime. For the investigators, Danny Freeman, NBC10 News.
We reached out to Disney to hear their take on this. We have not yet heard back.
Right now at 4:30, plotting crimes. For 2 years, Philadelphia has struggled with an increase in certain violent crimes, and the impact has touched communities across the city. But when the NBC10 investigators discovered thousands of city crimes being recorded outside of Philly, They decided to dig deeper.
Investigative reporter Danny Freeman has this story, which caused police to actually change their policies.
When she cooks dinner each night, Shanique Crawford remembers how her son Shaquille would surprise her.
He could be very quiet and sneak up behind me, and he'll grab me and hug me and start kissing me and shaking me. But he just loved to make people laugh.
Shaquille was murdered last year in West Oak Lane. He was shot more than a dozen times.
I wake up and go to sleep with the sight of him on the ground.
Shaquille was killed here on 68th Avenue. But according to Philadelphia police records, the shooting did not happen on that street.
Never thought I'd travel this far for a Philly crime story.
A few months ago, the NBC10 investigators discovered when police made a typo or couldn't get an accurate location for a crime, the department moved the crime to Disney World. We found thousands of crimes plotted to Fantasyland, including Shaquille's homicide. After our reporting, police changed the policy, which had been in place for more than a decade. Inaccurate data is now mapped in the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Africa, which is an industry standard.
But is plotting crimes in the middle of the ocean really the best thing to do? Why not just fix the bad data? We took a look at homicides over the past 6 years that had been mapped incorrectly. There were fewer than 100. Many just had typos. In Shaquille's case, the killing happened on 1768th Avenue, not 1768th Street, as was recorded. In the end, we were able to correct locations for 40 homicides. So why can't police? Why not just fix that underlying data?
So, first of all, that would be, if we were to fix every single crime, every single police interaction, or every single record, we would be talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of records a year.
Kevin Thomas is the director of research and analysis for the Philadelphia Police Department. He emphasized this mapping issue does not impact PPD's ability to solve crimes and noted only 2% of Philly's crime data have errors. We discovered it was about 1,000 cases per year.
If we want perfect data, right, it's going to cost time. And that's the same time that could have been utilized to create more tools and more apps to speed up investigations.
Despite that, Thomas says after our first story, police leadership decided to manually fix some of the data.
We are actually going through the shooting database to actually do just what you're talking about right now.
We checked, and it's true. Over the past few weeks, the department has corrected several homicide locations between 2019 and 2022, including Shaquille's killing last year. Philadelphia City Council member Curtis Jones wants to see more done.
You owe it to the citizens that pay their taxes, you owe it to the victims of crime to come back and swing back around and say, let's correct it, and not do the easy thing, which is send it off to the coast of Africa.
Jones is the chair of the council's Public Safety Committee, which oversees the police department. He worries not fixing the data could lead to missed crime patterns or misplaced police resources.
We need to deploy through budget a person that goes back around and checks and double checks when we have that 2% inaccuracy, so that we can get as close to 100% accuracy as possible.
Now, I had a chance to speak with Shanique Crawford just in the past hour or so, and I let her know that her son's murder location was finally fixed after our stories, and she was very appreciative. But she, of course, still feels and is hoping that her son's killer is caught.